I think that'll just take care of itself.
But yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, the workers are good. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I did. Yeah. Mine weren't first aid days. Horribly steam, ugly. And I used to.
New kitchen and bathroom.
And when I said, look,
You know what I think she did?
you start out with
I mean, in the area, she'll fix it out.
gives me hours to do stuff. But that guy was really good. So yeah, that's the only issue is if you're taking the rid and
Yes.
no, they were in the gentleman that kind of oversteered.
Well, that's He's still in insurance. He pays it.
Yeah, no, I think it's legit. I mean, I hit on that.
So.
There's still stuff.
Oh, yeah, my son's like that.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
that's terrible. No, yeah, very pleased.
It's forbidden.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. At the baseball, so what are they doing at the here where the high school has their baseball field? What are they building?
Softball.
They put two softball fields in first part that's behind it, which is part of it. Now they have two really nice softball stadiums. And then up front there, where they have just putting in water lines to put it in front of the grass.
Oh, there wasn't. Are they letting other people use it?
Limited.
Is that like Mike Zabrowski's at his? He's at the board.
What's her name?
Oh, the superintendent.
She was a finance person. She was the one.
Let's take all the kids who are playing.
I was talking to 1%. Get a letter of support from granted. But yeah, he was saying things like, I don't use it. He said, well, not for the last travel. You don't because they were charging us for it.
So the high school field.
Well, you know, so they use the towns, they use the two at the county, and they use the one over at Elvis.
Is that artificial grass?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've never looked at it.
Yeah.
When our kids played, it was like there were holes and stuff. Everyone.
Huge stands.
Yes, but they're saying the same thing. So people that realize who's being.
Well, the oldest teams are a lot friendlier towards public use.
Yeah.
So they actually.
Let's do it. No.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they do.
All right.
I said the other day, I was on Subway, I went and had my first iced coffee. Snow rush out of my car last night. And I was like, same thing, like Sunday probably. Can't wait to. Yes.
Oh, easily.
Oh, fine. A lot of times.
Just say text that fun. Just say skills.
Had insurance in place, and there would be.
That's right.
But that's right. And then, that's right. You should be giving. And then someone calls you then you give them, I don't want to.
Maybe they still run it. They still wrote them. Just use really 3 months.
Maybe a dozen times, maybe a dozen varsity. And if you don't have offsite.
That's crazy.
You should mark. And then put that money in. But it's weird when money is from.
Yeah.
Just so you know, beyond the all the board members have this in
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. It's the last thing in the world.
Yeah.
Map, sure. And,
Just to say, you know, I'm all done.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. And we have guests here today from CB Plastics, so I'll ask our legal counsel, Tom Seaman, to speak.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have a brief opening statement to where we are, and I have residents of the this applicant, SRI CB Plastics, had previously submitted an application to the Town of Lockport Development Agency seeking financial assistance in connection with the proposed project. At the time, the board had adopted an inducement resolution in support of the project. However, more than 1 year has passed since the adoption of that inducement resolution, and no further actions, such as the execution of the lease, purchase agreement, or other related documents, have taken place. In light of this lapse in time and activity in conformity with the inducement resolution, the board recognizes that the prior inducement resolution has now lapsed and is of no further effect. Should the applicant wish to pursue financial assistance from this agency in the future, the new application must be submitted for consideration by this board. Based on the foregoing, representatives of SRI CB Plastics Inc. are here to provide an update on their project and any questions from this board. There has been no public hearing noticed for this matter as it is informational only. No members of the public will be permitted to speak at this meeting. In the event a new application for financial incentivization is made, public comment will be taken at a properly noticed public hearing. That's it. Turn the floor over to CB 56.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Gordon, CB56, and here with Bloom Belmont, who's the CEO of CB56. And in support is Union Automobile, who is the associated with us. In preparation for this meeting, I served somewhat on Mr. Sy and Mr. Congress Mr. Seaman, and asked that we share the report. Just to try to respond to some of the questions as I recall that you know this kind of appear in December when you met Christopher Gard of Gard Construction, who will be developed side of the project in terms of construction, logistics, materials, hiring subcontractors. The construction itself is not complicated. It's led on grade steel building, but nevertheless, Mr. Gard will drive that process, and he's boots on the ground as well to make sure the building gets constructed. Our findings, as I summarized in our financing arrangements are in order. Our plans and documents are in order to basically now proceed and obtain final site plan approval, the lot work, planning board. We've got all the site plan paperwork ready to go. We don't want to waste other people's time until we get right with the lot work. Mr. Belmont has taken steps to ensure his ability to come and go to the United States. He's going to visit living in the United States. He has a gentleman, whose name I can't pronounce, who will be a project manager. He has extensive experience in plastic manufacturing. The Belmont family likewise has extensive experience in plastic manufacturing. They have facilities in India, South America, and more recently, this will be the first U.S. operation. We're very hopeful that you'll support our application because this is the first investment, as I've said, of Belmont in the United States. The company going, we don't want planes in Texas or California and one in New York. They're also co-investors with my wind turbine facility, and it just makes sense to have them near each other. That's just in terms of geography. Also, in terms of just business operations, we have some drastically different businesses. We have on cash flows steadily. The plastics business is a steady stream of revenue. The equipment sales business has more ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And by combining the two businesses, it smooths everything out and makes both more substantially favorable. I'm not saying not one could not stand alone, but it certainly improves the function and the performance of both businesses if they are basically associated with each other. I did not realize in December that connection, reminder between, well, we don't want to pull the trigger on plastics until we see where we are in turn. Cognitive has been extremely tenacious in terms of driving all the approvals, particularly from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I haven't been talking with her. She's been doing she says that's smart. And she said all of the grants have developed a clear runway with all of the financing structure needed for the wind turbine facility. So in the minds of the Belmont family, it was, oh, okay, that's good. We're good to go with that. Let's get the plastics business underway as well. Hence the delay. That was the reason for some foot drag might have received. Mr. Belmont came today to answer any questions that are addressed in the letter that we circulated. With that, I will ask if there are any questions.
The existing plans, were they purchase facilities already operating, or were they put in place and created by your company?
So it's all created by first to be the plastic business was started by my father. It was the first facility
then I have started. It's also a partnership with a local partner. We have 60% of the audience in Sharia. This is the first manufacturing facility there. So then last year we established a plastic facility next year. So now we will be producing 300 metric tons per year per month. So that's a huge potential. So this project was created because we are backing up with other project one by one. So how far it is more. Based on that we started the project for 3 months. So that's the one that. So we have already boosted the completion of the drawings and so on. So it's now ready. Once you get a clear picture of how we are proceeding, we can go for the town to get an approval. And this what we are producing is just plastic. It's not a hard. Everything that goes for food packaging and that countries. Not like you want to go to the restaurant, they give a box, the salt comes from outside, based on tariff. Now we see good pictures if this tariff, this price goes up. Obviously, it is a good opportunity for us. So we'll start producing in the country.
Let me pick up on the products, because I think when you were here before, we talked a lot about single-use plastics. When I went to the 2 websites you were kind enough to give us, that's a very different product makeup. In other words, a lot of those entities, well, they're for the quote-unquote food industry. They were what we would almost consider to be today's versions of Tupperware. They weren't single-use. They're, hey, I got leftovers and I need to put them in the fridge and have a lid that locks it down and so on.
Yeah.
What help me understand what you're still envisioning product makeup?
Earlier it's always a one-time plastic. Now it is technology is updated. You need to go with a limited thickness for the disposal. Everything, whatever the plastic you buy, it has to be disposed at some point. So for easy disposable, they have increased the thickness of the product. Earlier you see there's a 10 micron of the plastic thickness. Now it is a minimum. In US, in some state it has to have like 50 micron, and some state it has to have like 60 micron. Even for carry bags, even for plastic, it's the same. Earlier, some products, if you go to some products, if you buy the hard food, for example, now bagas, right? It's for the corn and it's all coming. So that box cannot be used for the hard food. Only the plastic is the only material that can be used for the hard food. And moreover, this is polypropylene, it's recyclable. Now the standard is getting up, and the volume, the pressure they put, so the thickness and the quality is changing. Finally, it is always called as a one-time plastic. It's again the consumer base, it's converting to consumer base always, whether you reuse it or you throw it. It's again an option. But in all the boxes, it comes with a recyclable thing, and you can recycle. And moreover, a family that goes 10 times in a month and take the excess food to the home and keep it in the fridge and everything. On the end of the day, it has to be disposed at some point. So,
on the responsiveness side, are the products that were on the CV columns in the website representative of what you're doing?
no, that's again this coming to the good thing, right? The food product is again goes to the customized product. Each restaurant, if you take a bulk quantity, it is a customized product, and they need exclusive design. And they have their own standards, own locking system, everything that to be. But we have a generic design that what we are coming with the manufacturing immediately is a generic design. What's a restaurant and things are using at the moment. You go to the Indian restaurant, Chinese one, they are using the generic. Other than the group of chain restaurant and the fast food and the thing, they have used their own custom design and their own pattern. Everything is for one thing, even the printing. Right now, we are not concentrating on that market because we need to have huge thing and the big companies won't buy from us. So we target on the small business, so we will be sustained.
One of the other key questions related to, I guess, the nature of the nurdles in terms of their makeup and whether they're considered to be made of recycled materials versus, you just made the point that certainly the items that you'd be making are number ones and number twos and can be recycled, but what are likely to be the majority of the kind of chemical makeup of the nurdles, and would those aren't necessarily considered to have come from recycled materials, they just in the end state can be recycled, is that?
Yeah, right now there's a two material what we are concentrating at the moment is PP polypropylene and PET from the paper. Most of the agriculture use agriculture packaging like strawberries, blueberries, it's all PET packaging. So it comes under the thermoforming process. And if we go to any office that has a this water disposed machine, we take the water that comes under that. It can be both PET or PP. All are recyclable. When it is into the container, what we are getting takeaway box from the restaurant excess food, that is all PP that comes under the injection mold. Certain standards that has to be followed. The lid cannot be made with the recycling thing. The bottom can be made with the recycled plastic. And then other one the strawberry box and those things of the agriculture use, it's completely called as a APET, it's called the international standard called RPET and APET. APET is a full virgin, it comes directly from the refineries on the PET process. RPET is recycled. There's a two things, your box, once your bottle is finished, now the world is going in the two way. Once the bottle is finished using it, throw it to the garbage will collect. Either it can be crushed and used for the textile making the textile product, or it can be recycled again coming to the making a PET bottle, or the products that go for the package. It's in the future sense, we are also in the fact interested in the blister packing, where you go. Blister packing is something called this. You buy the ricer from the supermarket. This comes with the top layer of the thing. That's called blister packing. So it's all completely recycled.
I think in your letter you addressed the safety aspects of your manufacturing. If you could just refresh the board's memory on how that process works and how it's safe, just like the manufacturing.
It's in older days the machineries was different. Now there's automation, everything is implant with the machinery itself. The noodle what we are talking comes with either in a 25 kg pack. There's only two packages available in the whole world for all the manufacturers following. Either it's called jumbo packing, or in the US it's called different packaging. The big one, the bulk pack, it comes with 1000 kgs, and the other one is 25 kgs. We have a suction pipe that insert into the bag. No physical work is involved. Just open the bag and put the suction pipe inside. Automatically vacuum will suction and you feed it to the hot barrel. The hot barrel is 230, but we have a safeguard for everything and doesn't have any human interaction with that. And the process is like just not more than 1.5 meter there. So it's injected and it's all free form. Automatically the machine is running quite good and it's all automatic. Only packing. Once it comes up, you pack and put it in a carton box.
And it's fully enclosed.
Fully enclosed.
So there's no hands or
No
fingers or
hands.
hairs.
Earlier it was a hand job, but because of the labor intensity, that's because ultimately the end product is competitive. So you need to be very competitive. It's automatic.
And then you said it in your opening, but if the board was to move forward with your application, what type of timeframes are you looking at?
No, the earlier project is like we got an agreement, it will be finalized because we are doing our paperwork internally. So it may complete in a couple of months. So,
Mr. Cornell,
yeah. So once again, this process will be going through it because our man hours are also important. I mean, if it is that project is, I got a recently, I got my L1 visa. That's why the 6 months delay is because of the visa. Because I usually travel on B1, B2 earlier. Now, if I want to move myself here, I want to be in L1 and the financial stuff, everything is in this end of March. I got my visa, so I immediately travel. So now I'm looking to move myself. Every project what I have initiated, I have for a period of 2 to 3 years. I have my persons who will be heading a bit below me. So we have a good expertise working on this plastic and nature, but we are doing what we know.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to bring up Siva Wind, I think because you've made clear how linked those are, in Terry's letter, it mentions that now that the uncertainty kind of has been resolved around Siva Wind and maybe the distributed wind industry, I don't, that strikes me as a strong assumption. You talked specifically in here about the one USDA grant. Padma emailed me back in late March about how that's kind of hung up in the freeze, albeit that's reimbursement grant. The other day we were on the call with Congresswoman Tenney about the really important investment tax credits that typically are used by end users to have that distributed wind project be more efficient. I guess what would your assessment be today of that degree of uncertainty that still exists out there?
Let's finally things that I understand. I don't understand anything about that. So everything with all of any business in this country is changing every day, as we all know. One of the uncertainties with the wind project, IDA Park is very familiar with the birds issue and EEC. We got all of those clearances, and then we got held up in permitting. The USDA application was submitted last June, but the Fish and Wildlife issued new guidance for bats, and it's affecting construction projects all over the country because some bats are protected. Northern long-eared bat is an endangered species killed by a fungal disease that they don't know how to resolve. So Fish and Wildlife issued guidance specifically for wind farms that affected our tiny wind turbine project because they didn't know it was different. So I've become a bat expert now too. That delayed the funding for that project, but we were able to demonstrate and get the approval for that project. We also sold a couple of 750 kilowatt wind turbines in Genesee County. That was also approved and we received a contract in January. Our product has huge demand in all of our client bases because our clients have been 98% conservative for the most part. They do it because it helps them resolve power cost issues, which affect everyone. And we don't see that as a challenge itself because we can show good payback just based on the energy of systems. And we're getting more and more calls from state policies that were looking at growing their renewable portfolio, but federal funding was helping, and now there's a lot of distrust about federal funding. So we have a lot of market. We were just in Vermont last week. The Vermont utilities had a cohort, and they selected us to be in a group that we may do pilot projects in Vermont State. We have a lot of interest from Puerto Rico, different markets that are focused on just based on the cost of energy. Our payback is pretty good, but all of these policies do affect things. So we're working through it just like any other.
Do you have any hesitation about proceeding?
No, it's we just wish we had gotten the approvals sooner. The incentives are all sort of but we have to have all the incentives in place before we can start. We've gotten the NYSERDA grant approval for a carbon neutral facility. We've gotten a lot of supporting paperwork from Mr. Sai. It's all been helpful, but we had to close on the land. And if we closed a couple months earlier, we'd be here for breaking ground. So hopefully we can get that done soon.
So worst case scenario, if the USDA funding or grant doesn't come through, would that affect?
That we have a contract. Our grant is approved. It's just reimbursed.
I know, but my company had a grant that was approved too, and I've been waiting 2 years to see the money. That's
really?
That's why I asked.
I'm in that boat.
With
Yes.
USDA, I've been writing USDA grants since 2011, and it's usually within 60 days. They disperse the funds if your application is in order. It's a very difficult application. We haven't had that issue with USDA.
I wish mine was through the USDA.
This project,
Mine's through the Internal Revenue Service.
oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. And then also earlier, you had said that the 2 companies are going to kind of share cash during cash flow ups and downs.
No, it's just the reason I partnered with Zivawind, the wind industry, the wind turbines that come and go. There's been a lot of turmoil because it is dependent on policy, not just in one country, every country. Permitting challenges and different things. So even good turbines have found it hard to survive. But their investment in the diversified industries gave us the confidence, and that's one of the reasons Siva has been able to sustain for 20 years because they have diverse income. And that provides stability, that gave me the confidence to partner with this company to bring their manufacturing facility here. And for them, it's easier for them to manage if they bring in have their businesses together. That's one of the reasons they found the IDA Park attractive to locate a plastic facility there. It's not that they're 2 separate entities. I'm here just to support him. He's my partner at Siva, and I have confidence working with him. And I don't understand anything about plastics, but I support that he's invested in diversity. So they're not for Viva Holdings. It's 2 different businesses having 2 different cash flows may help them, but Siva and CBRs.
Right, I understand that, but you're still going to, so somehow and this is where it goes from the first time, is I wasn't really sure, couldn't really understand how all of the companies were related for them in order to actually share the cash like that. So like how?
No, it's when it is hard time, right? We need to divert our fund, which is from the other company, right? That's how the business we are.
So
The 100% risk we have the cash flow to lend to its 50% investment in term. If there was a difference, it's as simple as that.
Okay.
So because the wind turbine, we are the one on this scale what we are manufacturing. We are from the manufacturing industry from 2005 until now. We are more successful, and we have installed turbines in 8 countries. We are the first one to do the smart grid project in South Korea. Even South Korea has a more advanced technology. They selected our turbine from India. We are the one who did the first project in an airport in East Midland National Airport in UK. Ours is the first turbine to be installed inside that airport. So we have done so many prestigious projects across the world. We are the one who installed the turbines in Thailand for the hybrid project on an island. So we have a vast experience for 20 years, and still we are maintaining our product. Even we don't have a business, we have our ups and downs, and still as a capital goods, the wind turbine is a capital business. It's a regular product. So the combination only we can put the business. For capital goods, you need to be sustainable for over the years. You need to be available. Then only the customer is more confident to buy your product. Otherwise, it's like you open a shop today and no thing, and if you close it, then you will lose a lot of customer confidence in the market. So we have a good relationship with most of the wind energy associations in the world, and and our turbine is certified IEC, International Type Certified turbines. This is the only turbine certified in the US market, now available in the US. Even if I can say like in the North American countries, ours is of certified turbines. In Europe also we can say ours is a certified product. Only certified product available in this whole of this category.
You said, in the documentary you said, talked about 25 jobs. How many of those jobs are front office? Finance, HR, engineering?
It will be a four person at the moment, and CEO, COO, and the accounting staff. And one will be the factory manager, and one will be the marketing manager.
Okay.
Because the marketing has to be on the overall base to find out order for the product.
I wanted to pick up on that marketing and kind of building a referral base. You know, a number of months ago when we last talked, you really hadn't done much, which maybe really wasn't a surprise. It looks like in your letter on page 4, you have taken some steps to kind of get a much better sense of the US market and maybe begin to identify customers. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, what we did is earlier we shipped a container to screen the market. We already done, and the second container is on the way to thing, and you're worried about the tariff, but it has to be shipped inside before the 90 days. Yesterday was 90 days past from tariff, so we need to ship inside. Even though we are selling cost to cost, it's just a free how the product is going and the quality wise. And once we make a more an investment, we should not go back. Okay, this is not suitable. So we have made steps like that. And the first container was shipped in the April 2024. It has reached June, and the customer is buying those products. Then they order the second container.
Okay.
Or you mentioned to me that the easiest entree are small home restaurants, Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants. Could you just expand on that a little bit? How you found these customers?
No, we get most of the distributor are now comes with an association, like a distributor association. We have already given a presentation to them, and most of them are from we have Indian distributors, so we focus with them. So obviously they will support us. So that's how they target. They have a big warehouse in New Jersey. They also have in Rochester. They also have Pennsylvania. So they have like a 6 distribution. So with all our production right now, we don't have any commitment other than seeing their facility and seeing the product manufacturing here. That they have given a confirmation that we will buy. Somehow some of his friends are related to us.
Do you have an illustration or a sample of a product that you're making?
No, I didn't write those products. I would pictures.
That's what I mean.
I already shared the pictures.
I can. Yeah, you definitely have pictures.
That's a bigger file over there.
I think like you've seen like the seed trays, like any nurseries.
I've seen a lot of different types. That's why I'm trying to understand what you're talking about. Because even if you go to like meal prep places and different, you see different types of plastic containers.
Do you have pictures of the trays?
And the vision for Chinese restaurant.
The clam shell.
Yes. Can you come over and show it to me?
Sure.
This is a apple picking place that we are sharing right now.
Okay.
This is a basket. This everything is the
That's what I was So there's several different things.
Oh, yeah.
So under the assumption that everything is cross the Ts, dot the Is, from groundbreaking to shipping your first product, what's that time frame?
Probably, I think we will be closing this in the 3 months time. We have a file.
Once we get all the permits and the approvals.
Are you talking wind turbines?
Plastics, it's probably depend on the construction time. I think the construction will be start from November, December, January. I think probably the first product will be ready by 2025 June,
2026.
2026.
So 7 or 8 months.
So we have a small window for the construction, so that's
And that's a challenge when you move from India to here. It's like
Because
80
we are
degrees in
we are
December.
we are doing construction in 3 to 4 months. 100,000 square feet. We are construction requirements. So
Does it,
yeah, this is our the facility we are already prepared. This will be the first phase, and this will be 2027.
It's pretty simple construction.
Yeah, but it's getting all the equipment.
The equipment, obviously, the equipment is come from China at the moment because they are good in right now. They have already we have identified the Chinese company which they have a facility for Ohio.
So they're going to manufacture the equipment in Ohio?
Yeah, they already. They
So
have,
that won't be subject to tariff then?
so they started manufacturing, but obviously the tariff will be the price what we are offering. It's going to be I do not know, but because we are buying from them from China for different countries. We know we're dealing with all top companies in China and also from India and also from Germany for all different locations. So they will support from Ohio. And also they are one more company we are discussing with Houston. They can also ship them machine from the Houston facility.
yeah,
The machinery, it doesn't take time, the lead time is maximum is 3 to 4 months. They have already starts available everywhere. So only the construction bother me a lot. And, our suppliers is for the raw material, we have a streamline, buy from Canada, Hartford, we buy from Westlake. Sometimes we buy from Exxon. But the moreover the raw material, the first consumption that people will give to first company, and then they will access will be shipping to outside the US. That's the regulation that is following for the last few years. But raw material, finding raw materials won't be only the construction part and the legal getting permit and those things is a hard thing for us at the moment. So
Now, I've got a question. If this board chose not to incentivize the plastics entity and chose that they didn't want to incentivize, so assume that for a moment, that was to be true, would the Belmonte family continue to support the wind project and would the wind project move forward? Or are they contingent on each other?
no. In terms of this wind turbine or the plastics, wind turbine we are moving ahead.
I think the first phase will go
Yeah.
as planned. We do have plans of expanding by the additional 5 acres eventually, depending on how the business goes. All of that may not happen.
Okay. So, as I had read earlier, for an incentivization, SRICB Plastics will need to make another presentation to this board to be able to move forward. In the meantime, the board's going to make a decision whether or not they're going to incentivize that. But in the meantime, we should expect Padma's wind turbine project to move forward with a closing then?
Yes, so
Okay.
that's
Alright.
nothing to do with it's a thing. It's because we need to be because our mandates we need to concentrate on. That's why I identified. And moreover, the plastic facilities already in the Lakota area.
There is another
Other
plastic.
plastic facility that's already existing in the Lakota area. So I'm not doing nothing different. The process is different, but the process is same.
No, I understand that, that's not really a question.
The bitumen we are proceeding anymore. That's nothing to do with the plastic. And plastic also, I'm requesting you to consider again, because I have done already $50,000 investment on that, preparing the drawings and so on, so.
Alright.
So
So in terms of the wind turbine project, is financing in place to move forward with closing?
We're working on it. We should have it, within the next year.
Are you getting a construction loan from a bank, or is it gonna be a loan from the Belmonte family?
It's a construction loan from the bank.
From a bank, is that what you're waiting for?
Um,
Or are there other things you're
We're
waiting
trying to see how the purchase transaction before the construction financing.
Okay,
Where that come? And I can also share with you that while Mr. Bellamani is returning to India tomorrow, I believe we're meeting to sign joint venture documents. To finalize all the understandings between them on 50/50 arrangement.
And, so our capital for the land holding company and all.
okay.
Any other questions for them?
I have a question, why, if we make an application, what probably will be the next for the consideration?
It would depend on how quickly you got it in.
Yeah.
What do we?
Usually this is
what's
a
your
week
process?
before. Yeah, week.
Or so before.
Yeah, and that.
Obviously, we've met with him multiple times.
We would start with the existing application. I believe the only update would be, now we have a better idea of construction costs. We have some passage of time, but we have quite inflation, so we can update that. The concept itself is not changed. The commitment, Polygon forward, restated, reinforced. So I think resubmitting is going to look a lot like before with more current construction data that provides feedback from our construction and the way they shop for subcontractors and suppliers.
That's fine. Coincidentally, in May, our board meeting is a week later, so it's May 15th, which is not norm. Somebody's not going to be available.
And the group is receptive. We already have the information to submit the application.
I would submit it as quickly as possible. We still have to do proper public notifications, notifications to other agencies, other taxing entities. So there are steps as well before public
So
consideration can take place.
the public hearing would be on May 15th, or May 15th is the
Depends
meeting
on-
you decide to schedule the public?
Depends on how quickly an application is.
Okay, so,
I would like to add, you cannot come back until.
No, it depends, I need to, because we plan to come again on June, but I need to know, because our board has to know what is what and how we are proceeding.
I think June would make the most sense,
Yeah.
rather than trying to force it into May, if that's already your intent was to come to June. I would get the application as quickly as possible. This board would then, if they wanted to consider it, they would probably take an action at the next meeting to call for a public hearing in June.
So I can show for that one. Just public hearing, come back.
In June.
Oh, that answers the question.
That would be the best time.
That is the regular
Yeah.
June 12th meeting. Yeah.
That would be best.
I would hope that we sincerely would answer questions.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
and in the May meeting, if you need, you can. If there's a possibility for it to be attended virtually, you can try. Oh, yeah, maybe this week.
We're almost in the 21st century.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks a lot. I was gonna ask you, it doesn't snow in India?
All right, we'll continue with our meeting. So in your packet, you've got the minutes from March 13th. If you've had a chance to read that, I'll take a motion to accept those minutes. Second, motion by Terry, second by Bob, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, sorry. All right, also in your packet, we have the audit committee minutes, and if you had a chance to look at those, we'll take a motion to accept those.
I will motion.
Motion by Kristen, second by Janine, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And we move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay. Starting with the statement of cash transactions, we had interest earnings of $3,900 and disbursements of $7,100 for balance at the end of the period of total cash of 1.7 million. We earned 2.9% interest in March, which was a tiny bit down, but that's, life today.
True.
All right, so then going on to the income statement. And then as previously mentioned, our income this month was only interest of $3,900 with expenses of $11,890, or total expense of $15,846 for a net loss for the month of $11,900 and year to date a loss of $28,100. Largest expenses in March were attorney fees and management fee. And then quickly on the balance sheet, again, a cash figure of 1.7 million. Most of the, against liabilities of 45,000. Accounts payable of the 8,600 is, expenses. The first quarter payments that are expensed in March will be sent out in check today. So total fund balance of 1.6 million. Any questions on the statements?
All right, take a motion to accept the financial statements as presented.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Janine, second by Darlene, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And invoices and bills.
Okay, and I present the April payments of $18,685. The one that's probably the most unusual is just the annual funding commitment for Invest Buffalo of $5,000.
Those are kind of our annual dues. Most of our dues are paid in December or January, but their fiscal year is later, so we tend to pay that later. So yeah, it's just dues for Buffalo, Invest Buffalo.
Well, all right, and so I present the bills, April payments for.
All right, presentation of bills and invoices. Motion by Kristen.
Second.
Second by Janine. All in favor? Opposed? And motion carries.
The other point I wanted to point out is that next month will be the conversion from Evans Bank to NBT Bank. There's been a lot to do. Kristen's the admin of the online banking, so there's been just a few. Hey, can you validate your contact information and other elements of a profile that are accurate and so on. So fingers crossed that all goes smoothly and really May.
Thank you, Kristen. And we'll move on to the director's report.
Just a couple of things. The kind of bid package, if you will, has been completed for the town center IDA office update over at the Carpenters building. Actually, after this meeting, there's an opportunity for contractors to come and answer questions. I don't know when bids are due, but but obviously, there as a result of that, blueprints and everything else are fully completed. On your way out, you want to note the foyer digital sign in Town Hall. All the meetings, including ours, are listed on there for members of the public. Speaking of Town Hall, too much honor about the 17th, the renovation of this building will take place, and then even if you look around today, you'll see some internal moves that are taking place to allow some of that internal work to get done. But I think we're envisioning even on April 17th, back entrance will become the new entrance. So we'll let you know for the May meeting, but it's quite possible that, you'll have to come in that way, come in off of Old Beatty and so on. So it's exciting to see that get underway. We did submit the final rail trail grant and voucher, and that's been approved at the local level and sent on to all of us. So, I know you'll get a kick out of this, but this month, and this submittal was the first time that the local parks office was allowed to submit documents virtually to Albany versus having to mail hard copies. So they may actually be making some progress.
And they put in that cave with the federal return. So.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of grants, I have begun work on a municipal parks grant that would add to Day Road Park. Couple additional pavilions, water fountains for the pickleball courts that are going in, some landscaping and so on. So that's underway and needs to be done kind of by the end of the month. In your packets, you have a copy of the PowerPoint that was the annual report that went to the town board. Really, the only difference is, one, there's photos of a lot of the newer businesses, but for each of the sections, whether it's retail, office, industrial, or residential, you can kind of see some of the more notable projects listed in those little mini spreadsheets. So take a look at that. And then we did kill trees for this month. You do have a copy of the Economic Development Council's annual IDA report, and it has that kind of cool infographic that maybe more than anything would be worth saving. And you all also got a copy of the full external audit that you approved last month. So again, we did kill a lot of trees, but most of those, both that IDA report and the audit report that you guys have. So for me, a couple items and feedback.
All right, thank you, Tom. We'll move on to attorney's report.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Any old business? Any new business? All right, at this time, I'll take a motion to move into executive session for consultation with attorney. Motion by Janine, or Darlene. Second. Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we are now in executive. All right, next meeting will be 8 a.m. Thursday, May 15th. I will be here. Okay, no Bob at this point.
I'll opt for that following, but
June 12th.
hopefully I really would like to see everybody there, at June meeting, because that'll be the.
Excuse me, yeah.
The opportunity
Yeah,
to
June.
make a decision on that. And we get a full board. Great.
All righty, this time we'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. So moved. So, Janine, second. All in favor? Aye. All right, meeting adjourned.
Good.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a work.
She's probably got a cross the street, I'll see.
Oh, boy.
You have a month.
I want to tour that, they have those, rainbows over there eventually.
Oh, yeah. You want to try it?
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's what he's going to do.
Hey, Blair. Hey, Blair.
Very hot.
What's the matter?
Yeah.
Is the movie of course left.
And Michael.
So they said G.
What? Oh. I paid the electrician.
I was-
That's fine.
I'm not sure what
Right, exactly, right.
Yeah, she never climbed. You talk. Well, the next full one is 5 years.
No, I hear that.
Yeah.
She on,
Oh, I know.
About the building. Like shells and power units. Go look at all the cuts.
Yeah.
Take it out. There's just all this aluminum. Recycles. The offices are fine. When I was there, he finally got electricity because all the heats have split duct systems in our electric. So we got heat.
So he's working.
He's trying to take his time to get the whole, gut it out, so I don't see. He's got a larger. Half of what he has to.
I don't know. I answered that question.
What else was?
It's gonna tell me.
Cool. They'll buy that.
I'm sure there's a niche for that, just like anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that, but that math floor, then the Model T stuff they make, I mean, the.
yeah, their place is.
Right. I always,
They move in the.
I was fascinated with people figure out a business and then they figure out the market well. I told you this going on in August, probably does. Utility, 4,000 hitting all the land over.
Oh, yeah.
So they're out there.
This what he sells it?
Yeah. Well, now, most of it's online, but it's sort of. Yeah, both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then,
We'll see you, Terry.
yeah.
Have a great day.
Well, I always. I'm sorry. It's terrible now.
This takes me a couple hours
I'm not either.
to debrief.
I'm less negative. Significantly less
So I was 100% negative before, maybe I'm like 70 now.
And I'm much less than, I just don't understand why.
I'm surprised too, because I kind of thought this was gonna get blown up.
I thought we were getting power.
Oh,
I was just trying to focus on what you say. I kind of got hurt.
That was not, that was not.
no, but even there, I thought, because I like even on the college, this investment tax credit. He was hard to understand. I don't think it was too bad, maybe because he was there.
So he's the 50% partner with Edna.
He was
She's
there.
not, she's not.
Oh, no.
No.
It's just, him and his parents on the plastics.
And that does, they did show that in their original,
Yeah.
their original application, they have a joint accounts, the work chart, yeah, it does show that. So I believe that's what they-
I mean, it still seems to me like they should have a little more prepared.
Yeah.
You know, say, oh, we're gonna build it in 3 months.